what's up, y'all? Rodney James here for Cage Side Press. I'm here with the number 10 ranked UFC Bantamweight Cody Stamann. Oh, dude, they actually bumped it down. I literally just looked at it.
Rob Font got ranked above me?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, they bumped you down one spot, bro. Hey, listen, man.
An unranked guy.
I'm not on the rankings panel, okay? I told them I'd be willing to do it, and you know, so they got some other people that don't know what they're talking about, apparently. And so, I mean, you had an awesome fight last weekend. Obviously, it was a very, very bizarre decision. Caused a lot of controversy. Probably, obviously, upset you because anybody who knows what they're looking at knows that you won that fight. And then on top of that, your opponent had a point deducted in that round, the first round, right? First round. Well, what's up with that, man? So let me ask you this. First and foremost, after that happens, does like Dana White talk to you backstage? Because, I mean, he knows what he's looking at. He's a big fight fan. Does he say, man, that was fucking bullshit? And
no, so I think this process is going to go a little slower than what I've liked. I'd like, you know, obviously if I get out of the cage, I walk out and they're like, hey, we know you won. We're going to take care of you. Don't worry about it. But I think this is something that kind of has to play out over a little bit longer period of time. But I think, like you said, these guys know fighting well. Like they're gonna watch that fight, and there enough people are gonna talk about it, and they're gonna take care of me. I'm confident in that. So, you know, moving forward, as long as everyone knows I won, I'm treated like I won. Even though, you know, I found Rob Font just got ranked above me, and I beat a ranked opponent, and he beat an unranked opponent. I mean, figure that out. But yeah, as long as the UFC sees it as a win, and moving forward, I get to, you know, I'm sitting in the driver's seat and I kind of get to choose, you know, where I go. I'm okay with it.
I know you're a Michigan boy. I see you representing your home state there with the Detroit Tigers baseball cap. You're here in Las Vegas now. I know you're with Xtreme Couture. You did your last camp leading up to this fight. How's that transition been?
It's been great. You know, I have a lot of great coaches and people that I've always trained with back home. But I felt like I was getting a little bit stale. I needed a bit of a change. And then not only, you know, are there always a lot of really, you know, good coaches and training partners out here, but also the PI, you know, that's one-stop shop for athletes like myself, you know, and everything's taken care of. So it's been great. I mean, I love Vegas. I love the city. I'm falling in love with the desert. And, you know, if I could take people like Kara Rowe and, you know, some of my training partners and people that I care about from back home and bring them out here in a perfect world, you know, that would be awesome, but I can't. So, you know, I got to move around a little bit still, but I mean, it works. I've made it work.
I know everybody over there. So who are some of the coaches that you've been vibing with?
So I work a lot with Eddie Baracco. Then I train with Coach Casey at 10th Planet in Henderson. You know, him and I get along really well. I've actually used some of the stuff that he showed me in that third round to kind of Khabib Yadong in that round. So I think there's a huge upside. I think I'm going to learn a lot over the next few months. You know, I'm going to be, you know, the best athlete that I can be with the combination of the people that I have at home and the addition to the people that I have here. You know, I think I'm really going to peak in these next couple of years, and once that happens, I'm just going to fuck everybody up.
Good. That's a good plan. I like the confidence. So, you know, we were talking about the rankings before, and, you know, those are always so, like, people are just not real. I don't know, it's very inconsistent at the least. And the way that they treat those rankings is very, very inconsistent, especially when it comes to Conor or some of these other guys. But as I'm looking at them, I'm seeing some interesting, some compelling matchups. I mean, I know a few months ago when you fought here, or 6 months ago, it was a while back, I guess, but you know, you had mentioned backstage that you were, you know, you'd like to run back the Aljo fight. Obviously, that's one you want to get back. I see some names like Cody Garbrandt, which is kind of exciting just in the fact that he's a former champion. But is that a guy that you're friends with or that you trained with before?
So I know Garbrandt. Yeah, I'd fight Cody 100%. I'd fight him. I heard rumors that he's fighting someone else though. You know, like I said, I want my manager to come back with a list of names and tell me kind of, here are the guys that you could potentially fight this upcoming, and then out of that list, I'm going to pick the guy I think that's most beneficial for me long term. I'm going to fight that guy, beat him, and then I'm going after someone big. You know, towards the end of the year, I want to fight. I want to put myself in a position where, you know, that phone call is that for the title shot isn't far away. You know, I want to be in the contender. You know, like after my fight, I jumped on the cage and screamed underdog, and my whole thing, my post-fight speech was basically like, I'm tired of being the underdog. I'm a contender, and people need to start seeing me as that. So, I didn't get to give that speech, but that's my mentality, moving forward. I don't want anyone to see me as an underdog against a top prospect. I want people to see me as, the favorite, the guy that's gonna take over the division, because there's really not. I mean, I have one loss against, the number one guy in the division right now, or number two, Aljamain Sterling, the next guy to get the title shot. He had 10 UFC fights. I had 3. So I have developing to do. There's an upside, and I look at all these other guys, and I don't see the upside. I see some guys that are 100% like a Garbrandt. He peaked. He's on his way out, and all these other guys, these older guys, Faber and all these other guys, they peaked a long time ago. Now they're on their way out. So I see a lot of opportunity for me in the future in the division. But I mean, it's not gonna be an easy road, because there are some bad motherfuckers at 135 pounds. Really, 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 really tough guys. Just like myself, I just see myself having a little bit of an advantage as an athlete compared to these other guys.
Where did you? I know we mentioned earlier a Michigan boy. So I'm just gonna assume the stereotype that you have a wrestling background.
Yep.
Is that how you got started in combat sports? Was that your first foray into combat sports? Was wrestling?
Yep, wrestling, and then I boxed a little bit. Michigan Golden Gloves. So that was kind of that was the foundation. But I was just a mean competitive kid growing up, and I've always been a good athlete. I've always been an exceptional athlete. I think I was all conference in every sport I played. I played 5 sports. I've been a competitor my whole life, and more than, I would never consider myself to be a fighter. I'm not one of those guys that goes in there and it's just like, put my mouth guard in, bite down, let's just see who, let's just bang it out and see who wins. I'm more of a like, I'm gonna figure out how to beat you. I'm gonna figure out how to beat you, and I'm not gonna take any damage doing it. I just fought, with probably the hardest puncher in the division. I don't really see anybody else like. I mean, you watch Song Yadong knock out Alejandro Perez. It's one of the worst knockouts I've ever seen in my life. The kid hits like a truck. I mean, and then everyone before that, every single time he touched somebody, shut their lights off. I heard he starches, super hot. I'm not gonna spread any rumors right now, but like guys that in the UFC, this guy's been knocking these guys out in the gym. That's why Uriah Faber was talking about how he's the next champ, and no one's gonna be able to touch this kid. It's because like he has dynamite in his hands. And the kid hit me in the shoulder, and like I felt it in my ass. You know what I mean? The kid hits hard. Like he's got some special power, and I just went out and just shut him down in every aspect. So I don't know how any of these guys are gonna beat me, honestly.
Fight IQ. I love it, man. So that's outstanding. I appreciate your time, Cody. Holidays are coming up. Are you heading back home? And if so, it's hunting season. You're doing hunting, or just gonna hang out with family?
I might try to squeeze in some hunting, but it's hard because I don't get home as much as I'd like to. So when you tell your mom, you're like, "Hey, mom, I'm gonna go hunting today," she's like, "No, you're not, because we have this, and this for the family." And honestly, just hanging out with the family is something I would probably rather do than anything else. So I'm looking forward to being home for a few days, but I'm also looking forward to getting this nasty taste out of my mouth and getting back in there and just knocking the shit out of the next guy.
Badass UFC fighter, still listens to his mom. Let that be a lesson to all you knuckleheads out there. Listen to your mama. And Cody, again, I thank you for your time. Where can we find you on social media?
Everything's just Cody Stamann. I try to make it simple. It's not like Cody Stamann 69 at Jockey or anything weird like that. It's just Cody Stamann.
I appreciate it, man.